appreciate you guys being here. And obviously, a long way from home, and it's pretty cool to see, you know, how many football coaches. It's weird for me to say American football because I think of it as European soccer more than American football. So football's football, and it's awesome to see this many coaches doing it at this level. And to be honest, I didn't know what to expect. Take this flight over and come all the way over here and see 400 guys out trying to make their teams better and grow the sport internationally. It's a pretty cool thing. And so, I mean, hats off to you guys for taking the time out on the weekend to come bore yourself listening to me. But hopefully there's, you know, something in the next 45 minutes that you know, I can try and get in front of you that might just spark some thought. I think more than anything, I don't want to give you a bunch of rules and things that, you know, I'll kind of talk you through how we do our stuff, but you know, I think the goal a lot of times we do these things aren't to give you rules that you can just regurgitate. I don't think sometimes it's applicable for your teams, and so hopefully there's something that sparks conceptually something that you can take back with you. So the goals of kind of today or this session, again, you know, I think we'll give you some rules that we use, but you know, I tell guys all the time, you know, don't use them, mold them. You have a better idea of what's best for your defense, your personnel, your kids, how much time you give them. There's a lot that goes into kind of the workload you're going to put on your players. So I think it's important while you listen and think about the things that you're going to use. You know, a lot of times it looks pretty cool, but it can play really, really ugly if you don't have the time to really, you know, spend with your players to teach. I think one of the best things is when Coach talked initially to start this thing off. This is a game that can be really simple or really complicated. Even the complicated things, I think that's the biggest thing a coach can do is spend the time making it simple. It might be a complicated thing, but you can spend, that's the art in coaching, is to find a way to make it really simple and understand how your players learn and what they can handle. And I think if you take the time to do all those things, it pays dividends far more than figuring out a new scheme, a cute way to do things, is to make it really, really simple. So for us, you know, right now I've used a lot of different personnel groupings, and I think when you put a defense on the field and you're talking about what is a 3-4, what is a 4-3, what is a 4-2-5, what is a 3-3-5, right? A lot of times in your head you have an idea of what that concept is. More than, for me, I just think about it as what's the personnel on the field, right? We've got 3 defensive linemen. We're going to use 4 linebackers and then the supporting 4 secondary players. How much versatility you can create in there, that's kind of on you. So when we think of 3-4, it's not necessarily, you know, a 3-man front as it looks on paper. A lot of times, because of what we have right now at the University of South Dakota, it looks a lot different than the way we would have played 3-4 with a different set of linebackers. So fundamentally, I think why we use it is it creates more, there's more versatile athletes on the field. Because of all the things we're seeing, and really I think it's, from what I understand, it's a lot the same over here. A lot of 10 and 11 personnel, and that 11 personnel as the tight end is doing everything from being in the backfield as a potential ball carrier to split out to an outside receiver. And so it's hard to say, well, we could put this personnel to match it. So we want to create, fundamentally we want to have more versatile players, but schematically create a bunch of flexibility that we can kind of line these guys up as 4 backers. We've got one we call our rush backer we'll talk about, who's a 250-pound kid that is really good on line of scrimmage, but can back off and do the things as an athlete necessary to play true linebacker. He can rush the passer, he can play physical with tackles all the way from our league to the Big 12. So there's a lot of versatility in that player. We always want to have that sort of guy. Opposite from him is a 210-pound outside linebacker that has cover skills. We can remove him from the box. We feel comfortable with him being in one-on-one situations, supported a little bit with safety help, but he also is stout enough to go fit in that run game. He can take that tight end and square him up and leverage his block and play off of that block and not be overwhelmed in that scenario. There's a lot of flexibility in that player. So, you know, the personnel itself, it creates a lot of that flexibility, gives you the opportunity to do a couple more things without a new group coming on the field, which essentially is a tell for that offense. You know, when 45 comes on the field as that big old Sam backer, we know they may only be doing this amount of things. Well, for us, we're going to do everything out of this personnel grouping, especially where we're at right now as a program. This is my first year, just finishing my first season in South Dakota. The year before that, I spent 65% of my reps in a 3-2-6 personnel. And I walk over to South Dakota and you look at the depth chart and say, it's very different. How do we build around what we have? And 3-4 has allowed us to do that. And then with that schematic flexibility, the ability to do all those things, technically as far as teaching your players how to play the game and the techniques to play, we can limit that because we give a lot of different looks, but technically how we play it, a lot of guys are doing the same thing, just in different positions. So, you know, today obviously talking about some fits, multiple fronts. Our philosophy from a run game perspective and stopping that run game is again, going back to schematically being simple. We're not going to sit around and try and create the perfect call. That's not what we're trying to do. We're going to be very sound in what we do. Even in the different looks, we're going to make sure we're gap sound, our keys are right, you know, how we're supporting the box with different players is right, but we want our guys to run the call perfect and not to run the perfect call. And so a lot of our time is spent, again, going back to it, making our concepts simple. Are the rules simple? Are they tight? Are they compact? Is it black and white for each one of your players? Is it black and white for your coaches? So your coaches can see and say, hey, this is what happened on that play. You know, I grabbed Tommy from the sideline and asked him what happened, and he clearly knew what happened, and I saw it happen. If we don't know that as coaches, then we don't have a rules tight enough and as simple and as tight of a group as we can possibly have to eliminate these mistakes and make these adjustments. So again, we want to be simple schematically. We believe in running the call perfect, not making the perfect call. Alignment, before any scheme happens, we're going to get the proper alignment. We're gonna, you know, and you'll see how we're structured in a second, but we want to create as many threats to that run game as possible. We want an offensive line to look up, and all these guys these days are giving your look a name, right? It's a bear front, it's an overlook, it's a 4-2 box, right? All you offensive guys got rules for your run game, 0-1-2, backside -1, who we blocking, right? And they define you. And so we want to make sure that in a 10 or 11 look, when you get lined up, they look up and say, I don't know who the 0 is. The 1 might be the safety, the 2 might be the Mike backer, the 4 might be the corner trapping or potentially that safety. We want to be in a look that says, this could turn ugly on us in a hurry if we try and define these guys. That's not easy to do because obviously you get that many hats in the box. You rob Peter to pay Paul here, but it's, you know, we're going to create as many threats as we feel comfortable putting around that structure to support that box and make it tight an offense. And then we're going to work really, really long and hard to make sure we have leverage advantage on every single one of our players. If I'm a Mike linebacker and I'm a B gap fitter and the back's away from me, I'm going to make sure everything we do has him in a leveraged alignment on that guard. That guard where he needs to fit, that he's never out of alignment advantage. And now there's, you know, everything can kind of roll downhill when you start talking about, you know, pull game, you know, reading out of things, crack, you know, a lot of things come into play. But we want to make sure, if I got to fit that gap and the back's over there, I'm going to line up right here. If I got to fit that same gap and the back's over here, I'm going to be in a 20. I'm not going to let the tackle dig me out of there. Those little intricacies in alignment, we're going to make sure we have a ton of leverage advantage in everything we do. And then game plan wise, right now in our personnel grouping, we look a lot of times we look like a 4-2-5. So we've got 6 guys, what you would think of as a 4-2-5, a 4-2 box. We keep those 6 guys, our core 6. We want that offense. We're going to get a lot of different alignments and fits, but we want that offense to identify those 6 guys as the guys they need to block first. We'll talk about later, we call push and box run game. But if we can get them to identify those core 6 as who they need to block, it allows us to manipulate the way we're structured to get free hitters from the other positions. And so, we work really hard to game plan around that, making it tough for that offense and making that the sticking point with their game planning. And then, we believe we want to be multiple. I think you think 3-4 and you walk into here, you go, oh man, we're going to sit down, it's going to be really cool, there's going to be guys flying and blitzing from everywhere, and that's not it for us. I think that, you start pressuring too much, that's difficult to do. There's a lot of intricacies in run game. If you're just trying to pressure gaps, pullers happen, I mean, there's just a lot that can go wrong. And so for us, we want to be aggressive in our look. Pre-snap, we want these guys to look up and see it one way, see it change another way, and then snap the ball and figure it out on the fly. And I think, a lot of times you can be aggressive with your look more than necessarily needing to bring players to pressure all the time. So structurally, how we set up around, we start teaching around an 11 personnel box. Really it doesn't change too much in 10, but I think you can grasp what we're trying to get done here structurally. So we look at this, and obviously it's a 4-2 box. Those 6 guys are the core 6. Our rush linebacker, again, is a hybrid player. He's a DN/outside backer is what you would think of him as. For us, he's 6'3", 250 pounds, runs really well. One of our more dynamic players. We recruit really hard to, typically that guy, for me, that's what we call a transitional player. I'm going to get him a lot of times as a safety, a really big safety, or a really long, big Mike linebacker that his body is just going to explode, and instead of trying to squeeze him into being a Mike backer, hey, work your tail off, get big, go, let your body do what it's going to do, and then we'll just keep transitioning you closer to the line of scrimmage. And so a lot of these rush backers come with a linebacker background first, and then we transition and teach them the on-the-ball stuff. Our guy's really good right now. Our tackle and nose are pretty interchangeable positions. They range anywhere for us from 280 pounds to 300 pounds. I think it's the biggest deal for us is I'd rather play with a 250-pound guy than a 300-pound guy that can't move. Those guys need to be able to move, be twitchy guys, really, really violent and aggressive guys, but are athletes. I don't think of these D linemen as big ogre guys. I mean, these guys got to be athletes. I want the skinny-ankled guys that can run and do all those things. We're just going to put them in those positions. Again, a lot of those guys are defensive ends that we say, hey, let that body go. Get big. Just keep moving and working the way you are. We won't recruit the 300-pound guy at our level, because if he's 300 pounds, twitchy and can move, we're not going to get him. I've coached a lot of different levels, Division II, in the NAIA, if you're familiar with that, and now in Division I FCS, where it doesn't matter who you are, unless you're University of Alabama or Ohio State, the top tier FBS schools in America, you're always battling somebody, and the guy you want to get is kind of seeking out the Alabama and the Ohio State. So they're going to take a 300-pound twitchy guy first, because that's easy. For us, we got to develop that player. We got to grow that guy into that position as a transitional body. So, and then our ends, again, we go through all these guys, but again, our core 6, I think up front, it's important to know what we need, because of the versatility, we need athletic guys. That core 6, again, that's what we're talking about, wanting to keep, not the same, but we want that offense to look at that core 6 and say, I got to block those 5 guys. And then how we're going to support it. We start in the back. We talk about coverage first. Coverage is going to decide, of those 4 circle players, we need 1.5 to support the box. So in an 11-man, in an 11 personnel look like this, we want to play with 7.5 players. And so in this look right here, if we were, and we'll go through some of the looks, but we need to gain 1.5 players. And conversely, the offense, they have to block 1 more player. right? And so for us, we talk about half a player. That's somebody without gap responsibility, where their technique leads them into, we call an insert defender. They're going to clean up a misfit. If we feel comfortable that in coverage we can play that guy half in and half out of the box, we're going to do that. And so we've created, 10 threats to the box. We feel like we can play every coverage we need to out of that look. And that offense has to look up and figure out who that 1.5 is going to be. And then once we figure that out, we can kind of let it rip. So in the run game, we tried to find what we call box versus push run. Box run game meaning we're going to block the core 6. That they look up and we're going to look at the course of a week. We're going to look through every tape and say, okay, here's a similar look. We like this look. We know they block it as a box run. And that means if we go back to the first one, if we get them to block that core 6 and this slot, our Z slot here, has got to block the stud, we know we're in advantage alignment. He's an unblocked player. If we know you're going to block our core 6 and you're counting on your #1 receiver to block the corner, right? Then we're trapping him into the box as an unblocked player. Right? Coverage has to support that, but we can, once we know you're blocking our core 6, whoever's in the best advantage alignment, that's who we want to try and go get in this run fit. And because we know they're going to be unblocked. A push run game means we may be reading the backside rush backer, so we're only blocking 5 in the core, and we're going to extend that box out to the stud. So we're going to push the tackle out to the stud. We're going to try and overtake that 5 technique. Outside zones, a push run, obviously, where they want to try and get the stud blocked. All right. In the event of that, we know that the rush, free, rover, and corner in this case are the players we have to manipulate into the run fit to get the free hitter. It'll make more sense as we look through coverage. So going back to our core 6, right? That's the 4-2 look. How do you get them to continue to look at that box the same, right? You want them to keep their attention in there. And so these are the multiple part of the fronts we get to. So I just took 3 kind of simple ideas. We use them pretty exclusively, getting in and out of those looks. So the first way is a 4-down look. Our rush backer on the ball. He's essentially a 4-2 defensive end. We slide and reduce that front, play lots of games to decide which 2 gaps the Mike and the Will have to fit. A lot of the stuff you're probably doing right now, right? How do we make this 6-4-2 box fit up? We spend a lot of times in the 4-down looks on shading, right? A lot of times guys will say, hey, I got to play a 3 technique because he's a 3 technique, and they put their inside hand down on the guard and they become a 3 technique. For us, top left picture, our tackle, a lot of times, our nose and our tackle in a simple, we call a weak front, the 3 technique to the will backer. That tackle and nose, even though they're A and B gap defenders, and I think this is one of those, hey, take it back with you if you're not already doing it, is depending on the location of that back, that tackle, if the back is 2, is going to play a 4-eye. If the back's away from him, he's going to play a 3 technique. Reason being, we talk a lot about extending the line. We're all getting zone read game, right? And they're going to read that rush backer. And how do we, a lot of times, can you support him in coverage where he's not just by himself, the more athletic guy? And so to make sure that ball doesn't crease downhill on the tackle just washing, right? If we're looking at the top left picture and the tackle just, their offensive tackle downs our tackle, if he's in a 3 technique, that sucker gets washed. And that ball carrier comes right off the tail of the tackle with his head down, and the rush is trying to squeeze, and now he's squeezing too hard. That mesh is happening right on top of the quarterback's out the gate. Or then he slows down, tackle gets away from him, ball's cutting back. Everybody's been in that scenario, I'm sure. So we make sure in those 4-down looks, we're shaded correctly. So if the back's set to you as the tackle, the B gap defender, we're going to play right in that gap. And we're going to play inside out on that tackle. We're going to keep his ass nice and wide, so that ball, that mesh has to bubble. Always has to bubble to the rush. Our rush backers is a 5 technique, and the screen is my tackle. They should never have to take more than 2 shuffles down if our 4-eye is doing a good job. All that read action should be happening about where coach is, here in the green shirt, right? If we allow that to be a 3 and this thing gets washed and I got to shuffle down to here, I'm out of advantage alignment. This guy wins. And so in that 4-down look, being proper with your shading, it's no different on the other side. If the back was set to our nose, if we felt the need to stay in exactly this front, we're going to put the nose in a 2-eye, make them play out on the guard, keep the edge of the line of scrimmage as wide as we possibly can in every front we can. Now, pistol, backfields, different backfields, give you problems, and like they all do, but we typically will get different fronts. If we want to play a 4-down front, in that core 6, shading, right? Hey, who is that down lineman attacking? Are we manipulating that edge to support the guys they're reading? Something to really keep in mind in everything you're doing. The second look, we'll get into our eagle look, we call it. Really not too much different. Our rush becomes our zero backer. He is going to key. We dictate this generically, first day stuff, by backfield. So our nose is actually going to move day one. Sometimes we play different techniques with him, but he's going to go away from the back. He's going to try and cut that off the best he can. It's a spike technique. We're trying to play vertically through the gap. It typically doesn't happen that way. You're in a one-on-one. But what it does is just sets up the rest of the fits. Our rush backer is always going to read the guard to the tailback side. We believe day one, that's where the puller's coming from. That's going to be our pull tendency. That's where we want to try and align his eyes. Both our Mike and our Will are who we call cap players, C-A-P. They're going to cap the tackle, meaning my key is the tackle. I match anything he does, pull down, out, and then I play him like a 5 technique. Nothing different. I'm just off the ball. And then with that, I box all the run fit, meaning I'm going to keep that run inside of me. Puller comes out to kick me out. I'm going to keep my outside arm free and press that back in there. So our eagle front, and then our hawk look. It's a 3-2 box. Again, same thought up front, really not different with the actual front. We're going to take that nose away from the tailback. Our Mike and our Will are going to key the guard and tackle to the tailback side. Again, that's the, we feel like is the pull tendencies coming out of. But when we teach these guys the keys and the fits, and I don't want to get into a ton of that. We got 45 minutes. We could sit here for 2 hours and talk about the really keys and fits. But we don't talk about it as gaps. We don't say you're an A gap player, you're a B gap player. That's not in our terminology. We talk about being a man fit. So who your key is, that's who you're fitting on. We really take a lot of time to find who that key is. So that Mike and that Will, as soon as that, let's just talk about this Will backer on the far right box. If that guard puts his hand on that end, we're pulling our trigger and we're going to fit on him. If that same guard pulls at me, I'm going to spill that puller. I'm going to attack it right now. We'll get some clips later, you'll see. The minute he pulls, we're trying to pull our trigger 3 yards deep right through his tail and go. You see it just makes it black and white. We start with the gap reads. We talk too much. We've done it for years. Hey, cloudy, not cloudy, this look, that look, whatever. There's a little too much gray area for what I like to do. I want to be able to turn that tape on and say, he did this, you did this. Simple as that. If it didn't happen, then I need to tighten my rules up. He doesn't need to get better. And so those are the ways we try and, 3 simple ways we keep that core 6. So if you go into it as an offense and you say, all right, we're playing the University of South Dakota this week. How are we going to block inside zone? Well, against the 4-down look, we're doing this. Against the eagle look, we're going to define this. Against the hawk look, we're going to define it as this. Make sure the center's communicating. Whoever's calling not only the run game, but the protection against these 3 looks. We got to be really communicative this week. All you're talking about is how to block those 6 guys a lot of the times in your initial install and teaching with your players. So we got them thinking that way. And then obviously it's the same 6 guys. So not only do we line up in it, but during the cadence, we're going to shift in and out of these looks. We're going to start in a 4-down look. We're going to shift to hawk. We're going to start in a hawk look and bump it to eagle. We're going to start in eagle and get back into a 4-down look and make these guys identify pre-snap as opposed to bringing a bunch of pressure. The other thing we'll do, just a thought, again, is we'll plug. Really simple concept. It's a 4-down concept. Nothing changes in your fits. Nothing changes in terminology. The difference is we're taking essentially our Will backer and he's becoming a 1 technique. in slice, we call it. It becomes a two, as we talk about it conceptually, it's a 2B gap fit. A rush is starting as a down end. The versatility he has, he's a linebacker. As soon as the ball snaps, he's going to pop off the ball in either a 50 or a 30, again, depending on where that tailback's aligned. So at the back away from him, he's popping straight back into a 30, assuming that that read is going to come to him with the back set away. If the back was set to him, he would pop into a 30, trying to get inside leverage on that tackle before he gets set and makes his read. But he's fitting on the guard. It's that simple. No different on the right in cut. Our Mike backer's becoming a 3 technique on the run. It's a 4-down look. Our Will's becoming the Mike. The rush is becoming the Will. We teach all 3 of those guys the same when it comes to fit and run game. We use the same terminology. Again, we're just doing it at the snap. So again, you identified us as a under front. We can do this from our eagle look too. We'll get in that 3-3 eagle look. We're in the same exact package. The rush has just already popped off the ball. We're not going to fit the same run game as eagle. We're going to fit it as a 4-down look. And so the versatility in that rush backer creates a lot of different things you can do. I mean, you can let your mind go crazy with it, but plugs, we like to use plugs along with our straight up stuff. Yep.
When do the linebackers come down? Is it pre-snap, post-snap?
A lot of times in pre-snap, we're going to show it. I mean, he asked when do the backers actually start to plug it. That's all dependent on what you think is applicable for you. I think with an inside zone team, you know, a team that's just going to run inside zone, let's get it moving. Let's make sure that that double team can't happen. That if I go hit this, if I'm the Mike backer and cut, we see it a lot like this. You know, a lot of times that tackle on the end, you'll see him, he'll sift through them and try and make it really long and make that tough. Well, if you go hit it, he's got to get down on you right now. It makes that end able to chase now. In the Will backer in this backside A gap, if they want to play in a box run, they want to double that tackle to you as the Will, right? Try and scoop that tackle out of there with the tackle in the guard. If you hit a plug, that guard's got to go right now. Nobody can block that B gap defender as your tackle. And so inside zone is obviously a really great time to do it. So yeah, get your tails moving when we're running zone game. But if you're talking about having to match pullers, or you're going to get power or counter or those sort of schemes, then you might want to slow down, depending on how you want that guy to react to that key. So yeah, we'll do it like that. So the ways we support that core 6 in coverage, simple quarters. Okay, we call check. It's quarters coverage. Out of our what we call our coin look is how we structure this. The 2 guys that will fit as the 7th or the half defender are our rover and our stud. Those 2 guys will key the H back. The rover is responsible for the H vertical and normal quarter stuff. Anything that swipes or goes away from him, the stud will then fit on him in the run game. So our core 6 fits as our core 6. How do you handle the 7th? Well, we got to match the H back. We're going to match the H back with either the rover or the stud, depending on his action. And then if the H back is away from me, so coach is my stud, I'm our rover, our H back's in here, he swipes and coach knows, hey, I'm fitting and buying in coverage that H back, I'm now a half player. Meaning, as the rover, my eyes are going to transition to the backfield. I'm going to keep leverage, okay, on that tailback, not going to let it cross my face. And if this core 6 misses a fit, for some reason, guy gets cut off, guy gets scooped, something like that, that's me. I'm the free hitter. Nobody's there to block me. The numbers say it. Nobody can block me. So I've got to make sure, hey, we're going to clean that fit up with that half player. Because the bottom line is, you're not going to be perfect. Those guys are going to miss fits. And if you don't have that half player built into your defense to clean it up, if possible, a lot of that has to do with how you can match up in coverage. But for us, we're going to make sure he's in there quite a bit, or it's built into our defense to have the ability to do that. Do we think they're better than us up front? Potentially. And if they are, we've got to make sure our half player's involved in everything. Second way we'll support it, you guys probably see this all the time, is one free game. This is a defense where we don't necessarily, our half player in the box, he's a ways off. So our rover and our free safety now, they're going to be the ones working off that H-back's action. The stud's now completely out of it. He's in coverage, playing cover 1, right? And we're gonna move off that H-back's post-snap action. He swipes, we go ahead and trigger our tails off and man fit on him and buy that route. And the opposite player, instead of inserting into the box now, is going to be in the post. Again, we've got to feel comfortable that the fit is going to be, we feel really good about how we're fitting that core six. If we feel like this isn't a great coverage for us, if we don't feel like that fit's going to be there, if we miss it every once in a while, it's on that one free player to end up cleaning it up, right? And so, again, we think of it like that. Another coverage we play is called clamp. You could think of it as a cover six or a quarter half. We just teach it as some more man concepts. But the H-back fit is actually going to be between the mic and the corner. We stunt a lot in this to make sure that the mic backer's fit it has the ability to do that. And then our half player is going to come out of the 3 or the stud, depending on what number 2 does. So again, we're not talking coverage, and we can go into that on another time or Q&A or something. But what I'm trying to get to here is understanding having a core 6, having a lot of threats around that box, right? And then how do you in coverage support that core 6? And you can figure it out however. These are just some ideas maybe, but your coverage dictates that. And so let me flip back over and watch some of this tape. I don't have as cool of a system as some of these guys. Okay, is that showing? Yeah? Okay. So going back to it, let me get this off the screen. Again, so this is another FCS team we play in Colorado. They're a big 11 personnel team, so it just fits well with what we're kind of talking about here. Our structure is going to be like that. I think as we look at it, we played these guys in a lot of 4-down looks. We felt like it was what we wanted to do. We felt really good about how our matchup was up front. I think this game, these guys rushed for 30 yards on 35 carries. We got after them with this. They didn't know who to identify. We got them blocking a box fit. And so this look right here, we're playing a coverage where the 2 supported players, right, again, could be anybody, is our corner up top. We want to have that anytime he's fitting in the run game, doesn't matter what it is. We want stance alignment, all that to be the same. He's got to have man intentions with his eyes. We can't give it away that we're going to cut this right here. So it's going to be our corner and our mic backer, that last look. So it's our 4-down. Our mic backer and our corner are going to handle that H fit. And then one of the 2, our stud backer out here over number 2, or our free safety right behind him, one of those 2 guys is going to insert as that half player. So if we look at the rep, really simple fit up front. They're just running same side power. They kind of mixed this in for us, or else our corner would really cut it hard with the back his way. He played a little bit different technique, but we would cut him really hard if we knew we started 2 in the game. But we fit it as is. The will backer knows I can spill all of my fit. 28 there knows I can spill the fit because I got the corner outside of me. And again, the quarter is an unblocked player, right? We're going to spill that fit out to him. We're going to make sure it's absolutely choked out inside the box like it is right there. They boxed it. When they set up to run this rep, they went, we're going to block all 6 of those guys. The 7th is trying to kick out the end. We're going to spill the fit. And our corner's an unblocked player. Hopefully you can tackle. All right? They really couldn't for a lot of these seasons. So don't forget, it always comes down to the fundamentals of tackling and getting off blocks. Second look here is we're running, we're getting into some of our bullet and our plug stuff. We're plugging our will backer a little different way, but just want to put it on here so you saw kind of the tempo, the way we're hitting it against these guys. It's late. We're just getting a 5 fit in there right now. Essentially, we're just triggering him into his fit, not necessarily a plug here, just the name of it up there. But the 2 supported players right here, we're running our 1 free ammo, our free safety, and our rover, the 2 high look. They're working off the action of that H-back. They're the 2 guys in the fit. We feel really comfortable that that fit's going to be sound. The half player, you can see it as I don't like what our free safety's doing here right now, taking 2 steps and trying to fit into this run game too soon. We want those guys to get their tail on divider, get way up on top of this defense, and show that we're closing the middle of the field. So really don't like that, but the fit is what it is. All right, they try and run just some swipe read here. Our looping 4 just causes issues with the swipe, but again, you can see how we're trying to keep, even with movement like this, I don't love how our interior guy there on 78 doesn't put his hands out there and keep that edge wide for our rush backer. But again, 21 who's fitting on 87, so 21 and 4 up there is our free and our rover. When 87 swipes, he's going to come match him and box that fit. If he were to stay, 4 is going to come into the fit, 21's in the post. Again, same look, same exact situation. You just see they actually get the swipe. They bypass the 5 technique here, trying to get cute. So again, 21, we're reading the H, fit the core 6 how you need to. How are you handling it as the 7th us? This is all 1 free work. Again, 4, the free safeties needs to commit to the post faster than this, but pretty easy fit. So the other thing we'll do, once you kind of we got to beat against these guys. These guys are rushing the ball for 220 yards a game. Last year, before I got here, they rushed the ball against us for dang near 300 yards. We got into this game, got them to be a box run team, and started to tee off on them. I think they ran the ball for under 30 yards, and nobody expected this to happen. We shut this team out. It was our guys. We really got them dialed in as a staff, and then once we really got feeling good about it, we start to pressure these fits. So we knew right now they're a box run team. Our core 6 are part of the pressure. Okay. We knew the trap corner was going to be the free hitter. So instead of staying in the same coverage and letting them tempo into the box, we just said, hey, we're gonna run a pressure. So we dictate this pressure. We call it hit. If the back's up top, and what we call a near backfield set, so he's up top, the corner's going to come. If the back line's down here, the stud backer's going to come. We know that's the way they're going to, run we knew that was the way directionally they were going to run the football and how they were going to be a box run team. So that was always going to be a free hitter. So they run a little GT counter, which is a tough play to fit up. But again, they're just IDing the hats in the box to block. Nobody's blocking the corner. Again, he doesn't necessarily get a free hit tackle here, but we get the run fit, pressed back into the line of scrimmage instead of out here with GT, taking it off, and a lot of times it just creates a cutback instead of them being able to press it and push this run game out to the boundary. Again, I got just a couple minutes trying to fly through these. Weak hit is the same thing, same exact call. Core 6 stays the same. Now the stud backer's coming here, 27. Again, a lot of times what happens is we knew they're a box run team. You pressure it. These pullers go, I got to block this guy, right? So as 27's coming, this puller, I got to block this guy. Now 39's unblocked, right? He was part of the core 6 they were trying to block. I had to block this guy. We pressured. Now 39's got, now it's just tackling practice. And they just completely botched this run rep. But so a different thought is you can start to pressure that. Another look here, getting into some of these hawk looks. Okay, and I think this is the second way we'll play in the core 6. Again, the 39 and 33 are Mike and our rush, are the 2 backers in the fit. We know they want to be a push run game now. They want to take this tackle and send them all the way out to our stud backer. So we're going to fall back the fit. We only need 6.5 at the fit if we want to. 33, he's the cap player now on the tackle. He wants to play that like a DM. We're supporting him with our will backer here who's out in the alley. Our will backer sitting out here in the alley on the bottom. he's going to support that cap player. It's no different than he would a DN. So we're comfortable with that tackle washing away. 39 is keying that guard again. Gets pretty cloudy in there. He just kind of reads out. Again, same look. We started in a 4-down look. Just pre-snap. We start in a 4-down look. Let these guys ID a little bit. Back that rush backer up. Slide him to the other side of the formation. And play this hawk fit. Again, he caps it backside. We're using the corner now to support as the 6th player. Corner comes in as the cap here. See that fit a little bit. Same deal here, a little bit of GT. You can see how these guys key it, 39 and 33. We're sending 47 away from the back. 33 and 39 are keying the left tackle and left guard as we look at it. See how fast 33 can just trigger and fit the heck out of this. Not a great job by 93, our 4I. I think this is a good route. Oklahoma, obviously everybody knows Oklahoma, right? They're a really, really good football team. We knew going into this game, we're a little bit outgunned. No question about it. We're a little outgunned in this situation in the run game. So we've got to make sure we have that half hat in the box. Again, we're a 5 look in the box here. And then we've got 2 alley players. One is going to be a cap defender here on the right. Can't see him. He's just off the screen to our right. But 27 is that half player. So he doesn't have any gap responsibility. Once he clears mesh, ball handed off, and the ball's down, and this isn't a great tempo by him, he'll laterally play at 4.5 yards. If the fit gets messed up, like it happens right here, because 93 is getting overtaken, he can come clean that fit up. If we don't have him in the box, this thing has the potential to be a pretty big hitter. Right? We knew that was going to happen more often than we would like it to on a normal day. See if there's anything else here. And then just some shifts. Again, I think this is just good stuff to have. Last thing here is we'll move like this quite a bit. We'll sugar up. This is actually an eagle look for us. Structure is the same. Box is the same. They shift. We make them think a little bit. So, sorry I get caught up, but we can talk all day. I don't know where the Q&A is going to be, but you know, I think the one thing that's impressed me today is just we talk all the time. We say with our guys, football is the greatest game in the world. It was the greatest team sport in the world, and we don't really know that. We think we're the world apparently in America sometimes. Like that's the only thing going on. But when you come to a place like this and see the level of interest in the game that we all love, I believe it. You know what I mean? It is truly the greatest team game in the world. Not only because of how fun it is to play, but the relationships you have and the way you can impact people. And I really think that you guys are doing an awesome job here of making this game grow internationally. And it's fun to watch. You know, the game we've been playing since I was in 2nd grade. That guys do that all the way over here and trying to get this thing on a level that's equal. I think it's really a cool thing. So appreciate you guys taking time. I won't keep lunch anymore. I promise you. But see the guys in Q&A that will be part of it. Thanks.